for our ongoing series of meetings that we're having all around the world because we can and because we have a higher purpose to do so. I first offer my respectful obeisances to Srila Prabhupada and then to all of you. Thank you very much for joining in on this ecstatic occasion of the celebration of our work together for Bhadra Purnima. It, as you'll see, was an extraordinary success. And devotees all over the world are looking back and appreciating, celebrating, and remembering what it was like to reach for a goal that seemed out of proportion with what we could do, but then not only reaching it, but smashing it. And it revealed again that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is behind everything and is encouraging us to fearlessly move forward and try for expanding the Sankirtan movement, gradually increasing our capacity, not just in what we can do physically, but also what we're prepared to do mentally by taking the responsibility. It's like Srila Prabhupada took on a huge responsibility to expand the Sankirtan movement. And it was all on him. Even when he wrote back to get help, there weren't a lot of volunteers. So he had to make his own. And as Lord Chaitanya is wont to do, because Srila Prabhupada's desire was aligned with the desire of his spiritual master to spread Krishna consciousness throughout the West and all over the world for that matter, and especially to print books so that the stamp of the Sampradaya would be indelible for generations to come. And he said again and again, because he was aligned with that desire, and he knew it, he knew he didn't have any other desire, and therefore it was successful. So in a similar way, we're given the same opportunity. We have plenty of service in the wake of Srila Prabhupada's appearance in this world. And all of you are taking advantage of it and aligning with that. So Bhadra's the most important. I just read this morning, we're having ongoing readings for Kartik from the Srimad Bhagavatam. I want to read you this last verse from the second canto, second chapter. It's verse number 37. Those who drink through oral reception, fully filled with the nectarian message of Lord Krishna, the beloved of the devotees, purify the polluted aim of life, known as material enjoyment, and then go back to Godhead, to the lotus feet of Him, the personality of Godhead. And this verse is by Shukadeva Goswami. And in this verse and in the purport, Srila Prabhupada mentions about how hearing Srimad Bhagavatam is the main method for aligning oneself with the spiritual world and becoming purified. And people don't have that in the world, and there's a great need for it. So those who work for that cause become the most exalted, and they become very dear to Krishna. So we congratulate everybody for working together for the Bhadra, the campaign. And tonight we're going to hear from various devotees from different sections of Oceania, Malaysia, New Zealand, Australia, and Fiji, talking about their experience with Bhadra and how they ended up, what were the final scores for Bhadra, and we'll talk about the global situation as well. So we'll also, tonight, we have the great honor of welcoming His Holiness Devamrita Swami, who will be with us at about 6:45 to inspire us for this vision of working together and also continually expanding the distribution of Srimad Bhagavatams, something he knows more about than most people in the universe. So we're going to start off by checking in with Malaysia. And Malaysia has been growing exponentially in capacity, and actually we'll be playing a video.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
This is my business. Am I supposed you're playing a video now, right?
Yes.
Yes, Srila Prabhupada, please accept my most respectful and humble obeisances in the dust of your lotus feet. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swamin iti namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nivisesha Sunyavadi Pasachya Desha Tarine. Please allow me to offer you the results of the recently concluded 5-month Bhadra Purnima Marathon. Initially, we set a goal of 200 Srimad Bhagavatam sets, but within 1.5 months, we have already reached the target. So we decided to go for the rhinoceros and aim for 500 Bhagavatam sets. The highlight of this marathon was the Gita Gyan program, which we have been conducting since February. Thousands of new people participated in these 18-day Bhagavad Gita courses, and many of them became serious about Krishna consciousness. They started chanting, offering their food to Krishna and taking prasadam, and some of them we were able to encourage to become book distributors by distributing Bhagavad Gita and then later on Srimad Bhagavatam sets to their friends and relatives. So this Gita Gyan program has turned into a conduit for book distribution, creating a small army of book distributors. On 3 days before the end of the marathon, we have only distributed 383 Bhagavatam sets. And the devotees in Malaysia really came together and put in some extra effort in the last few days. And by the end of the marathon, we have achieved a target of 545 sets, surpassing the second goal of 500 sets. His Grace Patita Tarana Jagannath Das, together with his team of Gita Gyan students, distributed 158 Srimad Bhagavatam sets. Simeshwara Das, our co-regional secretary for ISKCON Malaysia, led by example and personally distributed 87 Srimad Bhagavatam sets. On top of that, we have also distributed 150 sets of Chaitanya Charitamrita and Lilamrita, and also another 11,624 Maha, big and small books. This marathon demonstrated to the devotees in Malaysia that if we work cooperatively together towards one common goal, we can achieve incredible results in this Sankirtan movement. To dear Srila Prabhupada, we continuously pray for your blessing. Please bless us with great and increasing strength and enthusiasm to work together as one global team and inspiring one another to greater and greater heights in distributing your books all over the world. Thank you, Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Wow. That was moving, deeply moving. Chiranjeev, thank you so much for being a stalwart and for all the leadership. It's just an inspiration to the whole world to see what you're doing there in Malaysia. Thank you very, very much. Beautiful production also. And now we're going to New Zealand to see New Zealand's offering to Srila Prabhupada for the Bhadra Purnima.
Dear Srila Prabhupada, our beloved Sankirtan General, please accept our most humble obeisances, all glories to your divine grace. We're gathered here to offer this year's results of the Bhadra Praneem campaign. Team New Zealand had set a goal to distribute at least 94 full sets of Srimad Bhagavatam. I wanted to share some highlights from this year. It was so rewarding to see so many people welcome Srimad Bhagavatam into their homes. Seeing Srimad Bhagavatam go into public libraries and university libraries and being sold on the streets to people who are completely new to Srila Prabhupada's books. Seeing beautiful yagyas and installation ceremonies conducted. It was inspiring to see so many new devotees, new to book distribution and congregation members also distributing Srimad Bhagavatam and having programs to assist people in the reading of Srimad Bhagavatam once they had their sets. There was one story that really highlighted to me the potency of Srimad Bhagavatam, along with the desire, organisation and easy steps to follow that all sell Bhagavatam sets. One devotee switched on her computer in the morning to find someone from the other end of the country had bought a Srimad Bhagavatam set from the Loft's website shop. She contacted them and asked how they'd heard about Bhagavatam. He explained his ex-girlfriend had given him the first canto and he read it and he couldn't put it down. He thought that this knowledge was amazing and should be taught in schools. So he searched for a set by contacting every centre he could find in New Zealand. She happily sent him the set and he was completely blown away by it. A week later he contacted again and bought another 2 full sets of Bhagavatam because he wanted to share this knowledge. This story highlighted to me the potency of Srimad Bhagavatam to sell itself, but also the hard work of devotees to set up websites and have organisational skills to set up complete easy steps for people to follow. As one of the Loft's mottos is, we make it easy. So we had 7 teams distribute in Bhadra Praneem this year. In Auckland, it was made up of 4 teams: ISKCON Auckland, the Loft, the Brahmacharis and the South Auckland Namahat team. Then there was one centre in Hamilton, and in Wellington there was the Bhakti Lounge, and also ISKCON Centre for Culture and Education, with more than 100 devotees around New Zealand being involved. As we make this offering, we're pleased to report that our national goal was surpassed. New Zealand in total distributed 98 sets of Srimad Bhagavatam, surpassing their goal by 4 and an increase on 53% from the previous year's Bhadra Praneem distribution. We would like to acknowledge all the help that we received from Vaisheshekha Babu and his team, the BBT Marketing and Communications team, all the members of the global team, and of course our spiritual masters for their guidance and inspiration. We pray at the lotus feet of the Parampara that they will guide us and empower us to work together to increase our book distribution across the globe. Your humble servants in New Zealand. Hare Krishna.
Bravo. Sadhu, sadhu. Way to go, New Zealand, amazing. I love hearing about all the teams working together. It's so solid. Congratulations. These offerings are extremely important because to whatever degree we're producing some result, when we know where to give the result, we're giving it to Srila Prabhupada as he desired, that we take up the service. He asked all his followers, said, kindly help me. And there's several ways in which this helps, because knowing that we're taking it as an offering, we're doing all the work that we're doing as an offering. It's selfless service. It's just for the pleasure of our Acharya. Then we become wholly inspired and empowered. What's more, by making the offerings publicly, then people see the mood of them and also the results. And it's one of the ways that more and more people get involved in the process of Sankirtan, by seeing how lovely it is for devotees to be working together. These are absolutely beautiful, precious offerings that you're making. Well, we're treated to a couple more. We have Australia now, so please go right ahead.
Dear Srila Prabhupada, please accept our most humble obeisances in the dust of your lotus feet. All glories to your divine grace. On behalf of the Australian devotees, I would like to offer the results of our 2021 Bhadra campaign for your pleasure. The Australian team set a goal to distribute at least 228 sets for the Bhadra campaign. Some of the highlights of this marathon for us: in small centres where there was just 1 or 2 devotees distributing books, they distributed more Srimad Bhagavatam sets than they have in years. In bigger temples and communities, all the departments of the temple united under one umbrella and focused their attention on book distribution. Overall, the highlight was seeing many individuals coming forward to do their best and inspiring others to have a go too. As we make this offering, we are pleased to report that our goals have been successfully met, surpassed and smashed. Across Australia, 9 centres and more than 100 devotees participated in the distribution of Srimad Bhagavatam. The Australian team distributed a total of 348 Srimad Bhagavatam sets, surpassing our goal of 228. I would like to acknowledge the teams that participated: Sri Sri Gaunitai Temple, Perth; Adelaide Temple; Melbourne Mahaprabhu Mandir; Canberra Temple; Sri Sri Radha Gopinath Temple, Sydney; Hare Krishna Community and Cultural Centre, Kirtan, Sydney; Gold Coast Bhakti Centre, Brisbane Temple. We pray at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to empower us in our work together as one global team to spread the Sankirtan movement all over the world. Hare Krishna.
Sadhu, sadhu, bravo, Hare Krishna, congratulations. What an amazing offering. All of you working together and giving Srila Prabhupada what he said he appreciated the most of anything was hearing how his books were selling. What to speak of the sets of Srimad Bhagavatam and how you work together and smash the goal through cooperative spirit. This is just amazing. Congratulations. Okay, we have one more offering, and that is coming from Fiji.
Dear Srila Prabhupada, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to your divine grace. We are gathered to offer you, Srila Prabhupada, the Fiji results of the 2021 Bhadra campaign, which focuses on the Srimad Bhagavatam distribution. Sometime back during your pastime, you had encouraged your disciples in book distribution by mentioning that there is no literature throughout the universe like Srimad Bhagavatam. There is no comparison. Every word in Bhagavatam is good for the human society. Srila Prabhupada, for the devotees in Fiji, 2021 was our first or inaugural year in the Bhadra campaign. After some initial changes, we finally set a modest goal of 9 Srimad Bhagavatam sets. We distributed 8 sets that were on hand and managed to get orders for 22 sets. With the encouragement from your dear disciple Shriman Vaisheshika Prabhu and the global team. Our overall score for 2021 Bhadra campaign was 30 Srimad Bhagavatam sets. In the previous years, we had only focused on distributing Bhagavad Gita and smaller books. By joining the global team this year, we were able to focus on Srimad Bhagavatam distribution. We are very grateful to the global team and all our local devotees, friends, and well-wishers who assisted in various ways in our participation in the Bhadra campaign. As we make this offering to you, Srila Prabhupada, we are pleased to report that our overall goal has been very successfully surpassed. Srila Prabhupada, we seek your blessings as we try to organize ourselves much better in the one global team in order to effectively distribute Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy to others as you had given to us. All glories to you, Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Bravo! Congratulations, sadhu, sadhu. What a beautiful offering from the leading indicator continent of the world. As Fiji goes, so goes the world. So it looks like we're going to be having exponential growth all over the world, right, dear devotees? And also, I love what Prabhu said about working to develop even more capacity. It's amazing how when we discover some capacity, then we say, I'm not doing it. I'm doing everything that I can based on the order. And then Lord Chaitanya is making up is actually providing all the ingredients and the opportunities. We just have to try, just like Arjuna. The war's already fought. It's already won. So you can be the instrument. Well, now let's get a graphic view of how it looked on that whole continent, because we want to look at this whole area and look at a way that we can measure it. So when we can see it, we can measure it, then we can improve it. No doubt about that. So we'll look at the maps and get an idea for just how it lights up with the various centers who are participating. And the more points of contact we see, the happier we get. So, wow, look at that. Pledges were 228 for Australia, and the actual was 348. That's a lot of Bhagavatam sets, devotees. I mean, really huge effort. And you can see how the devotees all work together: Brisbane, Gold Coast, North Sydney, HCCCC, HK, sorry, CCC. It's got to be Hare Krishna something. What do we have there, Vilas Mandri?
Hare Krishna Community and Cultural Center.
Okay. And Kirtan's Sydney, Canberra, Adelaide, Melbourne, and Perth. Yep, everybody working together. Looks really good. Okay, what else? New Zealand. Pledges 94, and they sailed past with 98. Way to go, New Zealand. You can see Auckland, Hamilton, Bhakti Lounge, that ICCE. Is that a cultural center also?
Yes, ISKCON Centre for Culture and Education.
Fantastic. Looking really good, healthy map. Way to go. Fiji, Haribo. The pledge was 9, and talk about smashing the pledge. The 30 actuals in Labasa, Lautoka, Suba, Ba, and Nadi. So right now there's just, please look in your mind's eye and see how there's 30 sets there somewhere in Fiji in people's homes, and what kind of an effect they're having. Even one set of Bhagavatams on the planet can change the whole universe, what to speak of these multiple sets being placed all over Oceania. Thank you very much, everybody. Far East, we have Japan. They beat the street at 28. over 25. Taiwan with 15. Way to go, Taiwan. Hong Kong, 66. They kept increasing their pledges and then they went past them. Thailand, 28. They beat the street. Malaysia, the great wonder of the world, Malaysia, it keeps expanding more and more, now at 545 with great innovation. Bangladesh, we take a moment to pray for all the devotees there, for their protection. Dear Lord Nrsingadev, if you so desire, please protect the devotees in Bangladesh and let them prevail in all ways in the Sankirtan movement. Thank you for considering our request. The Middle East, the indomitable devotees there at 1,250. And Pakistan, 301. Powerful, looking great, fantastic. So we're shaping up over on that side of the world, everybody, looking really good. And now just for a little fun and edification, let's have a short quiz. Is everybody ready for a quiz? Say yes.
Yes.
Or you can do one of these. You could put one of these up for the quiz time. Yay. Okay, here we go. First quiz is a poll, so you'll have a few seconds. Our only competition with our own is our own selves, because birds fly in the sky. One, as high as they can, but the sky's unlimited. Two, as high as we push them. Three, birds don't fly high in the sky at all. Please vote. As high as we push, got 11%, 2 out of 19. The answer was as high as they can, but the sky is unlimited. Yeah. That's been our motto throughout. Birds fly in the sky as high as they're able, but the sky's unlimited. So whatever numbers we're shooting for, kind of arbitrary, but what we're trying to do is increase our capacity, and we can keep flying higher by Lord Chaitanya's mercy. Okay, we have a couple more questions. We set goals, one, because there is nothing else to do. Two, because of what it makes of us in achieving them. Three, because they are unachievable. Yay, 100%. You got it right. Way to go, everybody. Okay, next one. In which of the following scenarios is it not possible to distribute books? When the books are on a ship en route to your country, when the books are at the printers being printed, when there is a complete lockdown in the country, when there is no will to distribute. What's your answer? 1, 2. You already filled in number 4. Apparently, I'm lagging behind here. You guys are so fast. That is correct. And when the books are at the printers, that is incorrect, because France distributed hundreds of sets of books without even having them printed. And when it's on a ship, you can still sell them. And when their country is in complete lockdown, you can still sell books. We had our biggest year ever in 2020, and we're looking to beat that in 2021. We're on a roll all over the planet. 2020 was the biggest year ever. So the answer definitively is when there's no will to distribute. That's when you can't distribute books. Otherwise, where there's a will, there's a way. We have another one for you. Are you ready? Say yes. Go. What was the goal for Go to Goloka 2021? At least 10,000 sets, at least 25,000 sets, at least 100,000 sets. Some of you are saying 10, some of you are saying 25, somebody said 100,000. The answer is the goal was 25,000 sets. The 100,000 sets is our 5-year plan. So keep thinking big, because we got to scale up at least 23% a year on every continent in order to hit our goal of 100,000 sets of Bhagavatams in 1 year. 10,000 was for 2020. Okay, which of the following countries did not participate for the first time? Did not participate for the first time in Go to Goloka? Fiji, Thailand, Hong Kong, or Malaysia? Shamahini, what is the answer to this?
It's Malaysia. The question isn't phrased very correctly.
No, it's not.
When you read it, so it really sounded, sorry about that, but
It's a trick question, I guess. What did you mean to say?
I meant to say which of these countries participated for the first time, and there's only one country that participated for the second time in this list. So it was
Hong Kong.
Fiji, Thailand, and Hong
Fiji.
Kong all participated for the first time this year in the Bhadra campaign. Right.
Fiji, Thailand, and Hong Kong.
Yes.
Okay. Way to go, Fiji, Thailand, and Hong Kong. Do we have one more quiz, or was that the last one?
That was the last one.
Everyone did really well. Congratulations. Well, now we have an opportunity to hear from one of the world leaders of the Sankirtan movement, who has been promoting book distribution since the day that he stepped foot, actually before he even stepped foot into ISKCON, because he himself became an emblem of one who reads Prabhupada's books because he received the Bhagavatam, and before he even met devotees, he read all of Prabhupada's books that were available at the time, and came to the Krishna consciousness movement. And thankfully, because he's been working tirelessly ever since to spread Krishna consciousness all over the world. Thank you very much, Devamrita Swami, for inspiring us on all counts, and always advocating for book distribution and being the wind beneath our sails. Please, everybody, welcome His Holiness Devamrita Swami. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Bol.
Om Gana Chimirandasya, Gananjana, Shalakaya, Chakshura Militang Yena, Tasmai, Sri Gurave Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar, Sri Vasudeva Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I offer my deepest gratitude for the team that His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu has assembled. Yes, I've been listening for the past 20, 25 minutes or so, and I'm thrilled. This Go to Goloka campaign is no imposition. It is the natural expression of the Goloka Vasi, the spirit, the enthusiasm. What to speak of the valor? Valor is another word for chivalrousness. I was just reading about that in Nectar Devotion, about Yuddha Vira Rasa, the rasa of the secondary rasa of enthusiasm in terms of valor and chivalry. And certainly what you all are doing is of the greatest valor. And let me just briefly, I'm only speaking briefly, let me briefly recount what I was reading this morning in Nectar of Devotion. Sometimes I see that Nectar Devotion is underrated, but as Prabhupada instructed, you can read it again and again and again. If you have some questions, he said, just keep serving while you keep reading. Not that at every sentence, Prabhupada, what is this? Prabhupada, what is that? So there are 4 types in Goloka the enthusiasm can manifest for valor and chivalry. First, especially this involves the cowherd boys. The cowherd boys fight solitary on their own after being challenged by an opponent. So in our case, the opponent is the illusory energy. And indeed, sometimes the illusory energy prominently throws impediments in our path, tries to block the Sankirtan mission. And so we respond after being challenged directly by Maya. Number two, the cowherd boys sometimes start the fight. They don't wait around to be provoked. And I see how by Sheshikbru and his team, they often instigate the battle. Let's go, let's not wait around. I'm so happy for their efforts because in the past year or two, lockdowns predominate. Fiji was overrun. New Zealand locked down for the most part. Australia just coming out of lockdown. Yet, such enthusiasm is it's accelerating, showing that the Sankirtan mission doesn't wait for perfect material conditions. In fact, if you're waiting for perfect material conditions, you'll be waiting a long time. Number three, and I especially was relishing this manifestation of Yuddha Veera Rasa. The cowherd boy fights in a team because he's challenged by an opponent or encouraged by an ally. And of course, teamwork is what your efforts are all about. And finally, the cowherd boy, as part of a team, starts the battle. So either he's challenged or he himself starts the battle. So teamwork is very important amongst the cowherd boys. And Krishna sometimes relishes being a spectator of the teams, and sometimes he's on a team. And this is one of the glories of the Sankirtan mission. You'll be able to feel Krishna's participation. Krishna as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you'll be able to feel his participation. And you'll also be able to note that, yes, Krishna and his devotees, they're watching me. So this teamwork is so important. Sometimes the cowherd boys would switch teams. An example. Sri Rama challenged Bhadra. My dear friend, you needn't be afraid of me yet. I shall first of all defeat our brother Balaram, then I shall beat Krishna, and then I shall come to you. So then Bhadra teams up with Krishna to defeat Sri Rama and his friends. But all this is for Krishna's pleasure. So I love the way that Sheshikbru and his team have organized a sublime version of the transcendental competition that Srila Prabhupada relished during his stay with us. A competition in which it's win-win. Everyone wins, and Krishna is the enjoyer of it all. Just like with the cowherd boys and their teamwork. Come on, my team. I've spoken before about teamwork at Rath Yatra, how Lord Chaitanya in Puri had different parties surrounding the Rath carts. So you all are bringing joy to this world, and I know it's just only beginning. Anything I can do to aid your glorious efforts, please let me know. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you very much for blessing us with those words that we're only beginning, because we find that the way that we grow actually is getting the proclamation of pure devotees, and Prabhupada then and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu fulfills it. So we're depending on you for such proclamations, and we just took that one to heart, because that's our vision also, and that the fact that you spoke it out loud it's already manifesting. And thank you also for connecting the Sankirtan here on the earth to the pastimes of Krishna and his friends in Goloka Vrindavan. That was so helpful to remember how we're actually, as Prabhupada confirmed after Ramayeshwar, Prabhu had mentioned how we're in a kind of a Leela, following the footsteps of the gopis of Vrindavan by following Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Prabhupada said, yes, that's what it is. And you just made it so clear and visible to us. If you have a moment more, could we show you a few things? We'd like to show you the final results and also a video. Okay. So first of all, let's show everybody, because not everybody here has seen the final results, but we'll take you through the process as we walk together through the Go to Goloka campaign in 2021. We got our boarding passes ready, and we are following the path of the 2018-2019, which you can see was at a plateau. But when 2020 came, the great impetus arose all over the world to communicate, to work together. And we did 24,195 sets. And so for 2021, we set a goal for 25,000 sets of Bhagavatams. We were envisioning Prabhupada's thought when he saw this logo for Sherman-Williams Paint cover the earth. He said we should do the same with our book distribution. And so again, we had followed the laws of book distribution. They work everywhere on every continent. We had set the goal for 25,000, and then we came up with 35,432 sets for the global team, all of us working together. Haribo. And this is a vision of the whole world. We have these various continental teams all working together in concert towards the global goals. And we're looking into 5-year plans for every continent. We'll be circling back and talking about it with everybody, just so we can keep ourselves in spiritual anxiety for what's to come and what we could possibly do together now that we have some momentum by the grace of Lord Chaitanya giving us this pandemic to work together.
I've heard that Vaisheshika Prabhu is going to the UK, and we expect a massive breakout there. There's such a huge population there, and you can look at the results for Europe so far and know that 1,685 for Europe, good beginning, but there's no ceiling there. So we're just on the edge of our seat, waiting and watching for the explosion in Europe.
Thank you, Maharaj, from your lips to the Lord's ears. And I mean, they've had much bigger. It's the potential's all there, and it's in its dormancy. And I think because you just spoke it again, it's going to manifest. This is what it looked like over the years. So we have a nice, healthy increase going on, and we're looking for more capacity everywhere and a plan to work together. Australia, we've seen these maps just a moment ago, but they give an idea for how we are regionally. And then here you can see India that did 25,000 sets of Bhagavatams, Europe, Latin America, North America. And now we're looking ahead to the next 5 years. And the Prabhupada Marathon is now upon us. So nowadays we start the Prabhupada Marathon right after Bhadra Purnima. It's an overarching marathon that goes for the last quarter, and that it gives everyone flexibility to organize it as they wish. Nandini Kishori, did you have a question or a point? Saw your hand up.
Maharaj, we want to just tell you that North America number is going to be up because few centers did not enter their data in the trackers. And somebody on the chat also mentioned about Bangladesh, Maharaj. Thank you very much.
Okay. Yeah, it's not the only place it's going to be up a little more. We're still waiting for other scores, but we had to stop somewhere and report what we did. And we thought 35,000 where we were was pretty good. Do you all like the number? It may drift upwards because we're still getting scores from India and from various other places. And as Nandi Kishori mentioned. So the Prabhupada Marathon has started and it's called the Live to Give Marathon. I'll give you a little taste of this marathon. First of all, we're going ahead with the aiming towards a World Gita Day, which is coming up. Keep going. And this is this the video?
Yes, Maharaj. It's the teaser. Yeah.
Okay, this is just a little taste of the marketing. There's just a small segment, a little taste of kind of the style, the brand that we're coming out with for the Live to Give campaign this year. Are you sharing sound? Is it sound?
Yes. Jai Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Yeah. Live to give, cause from giving we grow. Following the footsteps of the greatest of souls. He left his home in Vrindavan cause he had a goal to bring every soul back to the spiritual world. And so he gave us these books as a door to beyond. And we contribute to his mission by passing them on. Worldwide marathon, so pass the baton. And we gon' keep on running laps till the damage is done. Not just a pledge, it's a wedge, yeah, we breaking the bonds. Then we gon' do the Swami step to the greatest of songs. So break open the storehouse with it tied, Garanga shouts and put a book in the hand of every woman and man. The grand plan says everybody do what they can, and that'll make an impact bigger than the Grand Can. Young and old unite in the eternal souls fight and give life to Srila Prabhupada, eternal delight. Yeah.
Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada.
Live to give, cause from giving we grow.
And our global goal that we'll ratify at the end of next week. We're just about to put it all together because we have to talk to every continent first, and some of them are still doing their predictions, calculations. So we're looking at 2.5 million Bhagavad Gita, we call equivalents. So Bhagavad Gita equivalents means because of the supply chain debacles around the world, we may not have as many Bhagavad Gitas as we need. So we'll cobble together whatever equivalent books we have to equal 2.5 in points, 2.5 million in points, Bhagavad Gita. So we're calling them BPEs, or book point equivalents, for 2.5 million. So that gives a lot more flexibility to everybody, just in case you don't have 2.5 million Gitas in your garage. You can put together other books like SSRs and any other combination or permutation of books and turn it into the BPEs that we need to hit the goal. World Gita Day is an opportunity for everybody all over the planet to introduce Bhagavad Gita. And it's a well-known book of spiritual wisdom to empower your life. This is one of our mantras. Everybody knows Gita. People know it all over the world. So we're looking for widespread promotion of the Gita to make it more and more famous, introduce it to universities. And again, our strategy is to work together, each continent, with a plan. And we'll have a yajna at Kurukshetra culminating the campaign, and it will be showing all the people who participated by distributing books, and we'll celebrate the Gita Jayanti, which we're calling World Gita Day at worldgitaday.com, is on December 18th and 19th. In the quiz, we talked about the first timers joining, and this is vitally important for the book distribution movement, is to find new communities. Community could just be a few people who are networking and are spreading Krishna consciousness together. And when each one of those centers makes a goal, and you all know what the goal is, right? It's not less than 1 and something more than 0. And if any center around the world starts with something, that's the edge of the wedge. And your pledge is your wedge. So it's important to find new communities and to encourage them just to set a goal of something more than 0. It can be tiny. The number is not important. It's just by making the commitment that all the energy starts to pour in. Lord Chaitanya will bless anyone who's willing to take a risk by making a pledge. And when we talked about the goal for Go to Goloka and how we had set it at 25,000, these are really carefully calculated, because we find out what's possible and then try to push a little past that. And as Mahatma Prabhu said on one of these meetings recently, it's really fun to do the impossible. In fact, life is completely boring unless we have some challenge like this. It was Prabhupada's direction that we should always have a fresh challenge to rise up and meet it. And we set these goals because of what it will make of us to achieve them. And there are residual benefits for every individual involved and also for our entire movement. The 7th purpose of ISKCON was to print books and distribute them so that we could achieve the aforementioned 6 goals or purposes of ISKCON. So it has a systemic effect, setting goals and reaching them. And we can continue increasing capacity. There's no limit to the amount of capacity that we can achieve. And most importantly, it's our attitude that it can be done. Prabhupada had a vision that Krishna consciousness could be spread in the West. Actually, it could be spread all over the world. And I was just thinking today how short life is. One of my godbrothers called me, and he's leaving his body soon. And I was thinking, best to use one's life energy as quickly as possible to please Krishna and his pure devotee than leaving anything on the field. And so this is a great opportunity for us to work together and try to increase capacity. So assume that it can be done. Let's have the vision that this could really go huge. Devamrita Swami has that vision. That's why he said these are good numbers to begin with. But actually, it's just the start. And 100,000 is a good number to start looking at, and think in terms of how we can increase capacity, but start with the idea that it can be done. It's all possible. And then just work backwards from there, how to make it possible. And Prabhupada once said that if you get an order from Krishna or your spiritual master to do something, and you're not sure how to do it, and if it looks impossible, then you should make the following prayer and ask this question: how can I do? How can I do? How can I do? So if you are on your way home tonight from somewhere, you can get that tattooed on your arm, or nowadays you can get it on your neck. Or if you're in prison, you could probably get one from a cellmate somewhere who'll give you a free tattoo. And how can I do? Keep asking the question, how we can do this. And Lord Chaitanya will give us the means to do it. Let's see if there's anything, other announcements, Shamahini or Anukul Seva.
No, Prabhu. No more announcements.
Well, what's here in the box? You said the Sankirtan app is still in the pilot stages. We have a functional electronic, or digital, I should say, Sankirtan newsletter. It's in the testing stages in several yatras. We'll roll it out very soon so that everyone all over the world can use it. And we'll have a lot of our scores in real time and a lot more flexibility to expand and see what's going on all over the world. Dear Srila Prabhupada, dear Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, dear Shri Shri Panchatattva, Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan, Shri Shri Radha Govinda, Shri Shri Radha Gopinath, Shri Shri Lakshmi Nrsingadev, if you so desire, please empower our global team for our Live to Give campaign to distribute at least 2.5 million Bhagavad Gitas in the next couple of months. Please instill courage in everyone's heart to assume that it can be done and then work backwards from there. And please give us strength, and please protect the devotees all over the world in their endeavors to spread your Sankirtan movement. Thank you for considering my request. Also, please continue to give us the Association of Advanced Devotees so that we can remain always enlivened. Thank you for considering that request also. Om Tat Sat. Everyone who agrees with this prayer in part or in whole, please unmute and say Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna.
Hare Bo, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Haribo.
Hare Hare. Vanchakalpa.
Hare Talam Pamlibhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo